What's going on, everybody? I just clocked off episode 7 coming up today. As you can see by my sweater, it's time to talk about the NBA. I'm going to do some NBA Western Conference tiers today. I think I'll do the East tomorrow, but I might do some hockey tomorrow. I might do something else. I'm not sure. But going through the Western Conference, the West is the balance between conferences is more lopsided than it's been in a long time because of all the high-profile injuries that happened in the East. The West was better and deeper to begin with, and then arguably two of the 4 best players in the East probably tear their Achilles. So that's gonna make the Eastern Conference a bit of a mess. Now that I say it, I probably will do the East tomorrow because I have some strong opinions about some of the teams in the East. So we'll get to that, but we'll start with the West today. We have the defending champions. The 2 best players in the league are both in the West. And a lot of teams geared up this offseason and hope to continue to do so in a couple of cases. So at the top in their own tier, I have the Thunder. They've earned that for, not only being far and away the best team in the regular season last year, but of course also pulling through and winning the title. There were a couple of points during their playoff run. It looked like they were going to fall apart. It looked like they were maybe a year too early. That's what I thought coming into the year. I didn't think they would win it. I touched on the kind of path to the championship when I was talking about parity the other day. I thought that they were a year away. But no, they pulled through. Shea and J-Dub were really, really impressive on both ends. They both, in Game 4 and Game 5, they really made it happen when the Thunder needed it most. And they're bringing back everybody from the team. Hartenstein, I think it became clear to them that Hartenstein was going to be the odd man out if they had to get rid of somebody. And his contract is structured in such a way that they can move on from him after next year. He has a team option on that 3rd year. A lot of their guys have team options or, partial non-guarantees, or in some cases full non-guarantees on their contracts. So they, even though their top 3 guys, SGA and J-Dub and Chet, are going to get really expensive, they still have a lot of flexibility, and they still have a ton of picks in the hopper. I think that they're in really good shape. I feel like we say this, shouldn't count myself as like an analyst here, but I think analysts say every year, this team who just won the title is the best position to repeat that we've seen. I really think that's true with OKC. I think they're set up really well for this coming season. They're still really young. They're really, really deep. I liked Thomas Sorber as a draft pick for them. He is the understudy for Hartenstein for this coming year. He has a lot of similar skills to Hartenstein. Not huge, but he, moves around pretty well. He's not a super explosive athlete, but he's quick and he's smart and he can pass the ball pretty well. So I have a feeling that they're going to move on from Hartenstein after this coming year, and then Sorber will step into a larger role. But this year, like I said, they're bringing everybody back, so they belong at the top by themselves. Next up, and this is the team that, this is a homer pick, but this is the team that I would pick to win the title this coming year, is the Denver Nuggets. I have them in a tier by themselves right after Oklahoma City. I just, they got so close to winning that series. Not that Game 7 was competitive at all, but they pushed OKC really, really far. I mean, not as far as Indiana would ultimately do, but they pushed them really hard. They figured out a lot of things throughout those 2 first playoff rounds. And I really, really like the moves they've made. They got more shooting. They got more playmaking. They got not only one really good backup center and another backup center coming up who missed last year with an injury, and that's Deron Holmes. He and Sam Jones and Curtis Jones, and I believe Reese Beekman is going to make the roster as well. We're all playing in Summer League this past July, and I got to shout out Curtis Jones because he played at Iowa State, which is located in my hometown. So I was very happy to see that. He had some nice outlet plays, which is going to be just, I mean, it's going to be so much easier playing with Jokic if you can get those plays. If you just run out, he'll get the ball to you. And Curtis Jones is a good scorer. He looked pretty good in Summer League. I feel like he played pretty smart. But I'm getting derailed talking about him. And just in general, I think the team is going to be way better. You know, there's not going to be the same friction between the front office and the coaching staff. I think the coaching staff is going to be a lot more easygoing about playing time. They're going to let their young guys play at their own pace a little bit more because they have veteran depth, so they don't need to rely on those guys quite as much. So I think the Nuggets are going to be really good. I think they're ultimately going to win the championship. If they can end up on the opposite side of the bracket from OKC, they're in really good shape. The next tier after that, I have Minnesota and I have the Clippers. I really like everything that Minnesota has done since Connolly got there. You know, it's a bummer to have lost him from the Nuggets. He obviously got a great offer to go to the Timberwolves. He got an equity stake in the team on top of a huge salary, and he's delivering. Minnesota, they made the conference finals for the second year in a row. They also kind of got smoked in the conference finals for the second year in a row. But I think they're going to be really good. I think it's going to be a little bit of a transition year because Conley is on the last year of his deal. I think they're going to look to get Dillingham a lot more playing time. I really like the guy that they drafted, Johan Berenger, who is kind of the understudy role with Rudy Gobert. I think he's going to play a good amount. Terrence Shannon's going to play more. They lost Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That hurts. But most of their core guys are coming back. So I think they're going to be really good. I don't think they're going to make the conference finals again, but I think they'll be really good. The other team in this tier I think has a higher upside, and that's the Clippers. Obviously, Kawhi's health and James Harden's playoff performance is always a question mark with this team. Kawhi looked great, especially early on in their playoff series against the Nuggets. So if he can keep that going into the back half of the series and into future rounds, they're going to be really dangerous. And really, more than anything, I think this team, they're like the on-paper champs, right? Like, they always look really good on paper. It seems like they can match up really well against whatever team. I think that's even more true now because if you look at the moves they made this summer, they essentially went from, they switched out Ben Simmons and Drew Eubanks and Norman Powell for John Collins and Brook Lopez and Bradley Beal. And no, I don't think Beal is going to be awesome for them. And yeah, Brook Lopez is old. John Collins is a bit of a question mark. He hasn't been on a good team for a couple of years, so we'll see what he does there. But those are just objectively really big upgrades at all of those spots. They just made their team a lot better. And they were already pretty close to beating the Nuggets. There are a couple of crazy late game bounces in that series that really swung it in the Nuggets' favor. The Clippers, they clipped a little bit. They folded after that. They kind of folded in the back half of that series, but they were still really close in a couple of those games. So I think that those are meaningful improvements. I think they're going to be really good. I wouldn't be surprised if they knock off one of the top two teams and make a conference finals run. The last one I'm going to do, because this is quickly turning into a part 2 situation, is the Rockets. A lot of people think the Rockets are going to be really, really good this year. They have them in the number 3 spot in the conference. I have them a level down from the Timberwolves and the Clippers. I have them in their own tier there. I think they're going to be good. I think the Kevin Durant trade is going to help their team a lot. I also just think that they are loading up for next year. You know, they have a billion power forwards on this team, and very few guards. I think that they have really good contracts that they sign, like they have good value on their team, but it's just hard for them to make deals this year. They're hard capped at the first apron, which they're right under, and they have a poison pill on Jabari Smith's contract. Again, that's a good contract. You know, he's going to be tradable. I think that he is a good player as well. I think he's going to have value. But yeah, I just don't think they're going to be able to make the moves they want to make this year. I think they're planning for next year, where I think they're going to be really, really solid. I think they'll sign Durant this year, and then they'll figure it out next year. They'll make some more changes. So I'm a little lower on them than a lot of people, but I mean, they're going to be good, and they're going to be a pain to play against. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. I'm going to stop part 1 here, and then I'll do part 2 with the remainder of the conference.